Good afternoon, my name is Ella Randall and I'd like to talk about the diversity in flowers in Peru. So my overall guided question for my trip was, how does the flora and man manipulation of flowers in Peru affect the diversity of the flowers in comparison to the flowers found in the United States? So touching on the two things, first I'd like to define flora, being the area, environment, and time in which plants grow, in this situation flowers, and man manipulation being natural versus planted or dyed, stuff like that, just involving man in any way. So basically on my trip I took many pictures of almost every flower that I saw. So as you can see, they look very natural. They look like they were supposed to be there. They're not standing alone. They're a part of the vegetation around them. And as you can see more so in both of this picture and this picture, they're in between rocks. So, nobody planted those there. And I think that has a lot to do with why they're so much more, in my opinion, more beautiful and more aesthetically pleasing to look at than flowers found in America or the United States. So obviously they're more natural, they're more in their natural environment, their native environment. And as you can see in both the top picture and the bigger one, it's cloudy, which entails rain. And of course, all of these pictures were taken at different places within Peru, but some of them in rainy, humid places, some of them in not rainy, dry places. And this all aids in flower survival as flowers grow what they're supposed to, where they're more comfortable growing, where they can survive and thrive in those set environments. And so the climate really helps in allowing such beautiful, diverse, vibrant flowers to grow in Peru. And the flowers in the United States, they also thrive in different climates and such. However, the climate isn't as dramatically different in the United States as it is in Peru. It's more averaged out, I would say. So yeah, they look like they're supposed to be there, and I think that really makes them more beautiful, in my opinion. Because looking at the flowers more so found in America, you think of gardens or bouquets from Food Lion. So these are very man-manipulated, and it's very common to see man-manipulated flowers in the United States, which I'm not so keen about, because I just don't think the same aesthetics that was there in Peru. Of course, different atmosphere of being in a different country may have had some influence on my opinion. However, it's so much more common to see more manicured, man-manipulated flowers in America. You just see certain common ones. Like you see sunflowers or daisies or roses, some lilies, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you will see them dyed a different color, but not naturally. And I think that you can really tell when that happens, and the appeal kind of fades when you think about it, and it's just not natural, and you want to see something that's very natural. And it's just so refreshing to see the flowers in Peru and how diverse they are and how natural they are without being made that way. And climate's very important there, but I think man manipulation is the biggest key in that. And I think Peru has done a very good job of realizing that and making sure to preserve the natural flowers and not turn into a manicured, flowered country. There's obviously such a big difference between them. And I mean, you obviously won't see stuff like this everywhere, but it's far more common than seeing something naturally beautiful like this just on the side of the road, unless you pass a sunflower field, which also is not very common. But you can definitely tell these are natural. These were made to be there. And I admire Peru, or more so the people in Peru. I admire them for not going against this and trying to make it a garden. I appreciate that they keep their sites and not gardens, because you're there to look at the archaeological aspect, but the natural flowers that grow there are so nice and refreshing to look at, and just them being so natural and subtle, it just brings a whole new aesthetic to flowers. And immediately when I saw the first couple, I knew that this is what I wanted my whole project to be on. I wanted my project to talk about the difference between the flowers, because it was all I could think about every time that I saw a flower. The first thing that came to my mind was, I would not see this in the United States. I really love this big picture, because in the archaeological sites there were many flowers just growing out of the rocks, and I loved that. I thought that that was so gorgeous, so beautiful, so raw, and I think that that's mainly where this comes from, is the flowers in Peru are just raw, and I find that so aesthetically pleasing, just because it is not that way in the United States due to climate, but mostly man manipulation, and that's really what this whole project has pretty much been upon, is man manipulation and the differences between highly manipulated and not very manipulated at all. And I think that there's a great difference between the two, and I think you can really tell. And I would like to thank you for your time and for listening to my presentation.